So without further ado, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege and honor for me to invite onto the stage our featured honorable speaker, the Coordinating Minister for Infrastructure and Development of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Agus Harimurti Yudhoyono. Please give a round of applause.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May peace and blessings be upon us all. Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Indonesian Business Council, Mr. Arsyad Rashid, thank you for having me. We had a very good conversation over coffee before this event. We talk about certainty, capability, and capital, the three C's. And I fully agree with all your points. And I hope this event will be beneficial for both the government and private sectors. Bapak Sofyan Jalil, Chief Executive Officer of the Indonesian Business Council. And I see some familiar faces here. My good friend, Ambassador of Singapore, Mr. Bani Mulia, Mr. Juhiro Tampi, Mr. Husodo Angko Subroto, Mr. William Sahbandar, and Bapak Lutfi. Terima kasih, Bapak Sulis, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I thank the Indonesian Business Council for convening the Indonesia Economic Summit 2026. I have been asked to speak on preparing Indonesia for the geopolitics of tomorrow. But we must be clear, the tomorrow we used to discuss here has already arrived. In 2026, geopolitics is no longer shaped only in diplomatic halls. It runs through our supply chains, our energy systems, our digital platforms, and our infrastructure networks. Economic and geopolitics are now inseparable from national sovereignty. We are witnessing a structural transition in the global order, not a temporary disruption. Competition is widening beyond military posture into trade rules, technology standards, investment screening, and supply chain control. Interdependence, once treated as efficiency, can now become leverage. We are seeing resources, geography, and choke points reassert themselves as instruments of leverage. And we can see this logic unfolding in real time. Look at Venezuela, where oil, politics, and external pressure are tightly intertwined, with implications for global energy flows and market access. Look at Greenland, where Arctic geography and critical minerals are pulling major powers into sharper competition for access and influence. And I'll look at Iran, where nuclear tensions and the risk around key shipping corridors remind us how quickly geopolitics can transmit into energy prices shipping costs, and inflation worldwide. This is the environment we must plan for. Fewer reliable guardrails, more contested rules, and higher penalties for countries that are unprepared. So the question is no longer whether geopolitics will affect our growth. The question is, will we be ready by design or reactive by accident? Ladies and gentlemen, under the leadership of President Prabowo Subianto, our national direction is bold and clear: food security, energy security, and water security. These are not merely development targets. They are the prerequisites for strategic autonomy. A nation that cannot reliably feed its people, power its economy, or safeguard its water, especially amid climate volatility, is a nation that cannot fully protect its sovereignty. Our doctrine of bebas and aktif remains our North Star. But in this era, it must be operationalized through resilience that is physical, economic, and institutional. Next slide. So, Thucydides once captured the logic of power bluntly. The strong do what they can, and the weak must suffer, or the weak suffer what they must. Indonesia's answer is simple. In today's world, the resilient set their own terms. We do not choose sides. We build strength at home. So Indonesia becomes a trusted partner to many, a country too resilient to be pressured, and too important to be destabilized. Energy security is the heartbeat of strategic autonomy. Our national energy roadmap, including investment in grids, generation and system reliability, is not just technical planning. It is the foundation of economic continuity. Under RUPTL 2025-2034, we plan roughly 69.5 gigawatts of new capacity, where renewables make up the majority share, supported by energy storage to keep the system reliable. We are accelerating the expansion of renewables, geothermal, hydropower, solar, and wind, not only because the world is moving toward decarbonization, but because these are resources within our reach. You cannot embargo the wind, you cannot blockade the sun, and you cannot take away the heat from our volcanic earth. And in the era of AI, when electricity demand rises and competition is increasingly about how or about who can supply reliable power at scale, this roadmap becomes not just an energy plan, but a competitiveness plan. By strengthening and modernizing our grid, by investing in transmission, flexibility, and storage, we reduce exposure to volatility and improve competitiveness. And through downstreaming and industrial development, Indonesia will not merely supply raw materials. We will create values, jobs, and capabilities so the transition becomes a source of strength, not vulnerability. However, all progress is tested by nature. Many of us are still mindful of the recent disasters in Aceh, North Sumatra, and West Sumatra, and of the families whose lives were disrupted in an instant. Our focus now is on rehabilitation and reconstruction, so restoring roads, bridges, and housing quickly, safely, and to higher resilience standards so communities can rebuild with dignity and confidence. Indonesia stands on the ring of fire, on the front line of climate risk. In the geopolitics of tomorrow, climate risk is economic risk. We can no longer rely on reactive responses. We must build a model of infrastructure continuity. It requires 3 shifts. Number 1, investing in early warning systems, redundancy, and critical infrastructure that can endure shocks. Number 2, making spatial planning risk-aware, protecting mangroves, forests, and watersheds as national defenses. And third, designing roads, bridges, ports, and water systems for future conditions, not past averages. As Coordinating Minister for Infrastructure and Regional Development, my mandate is to ensure growth is not a Jakarta-centric story. If regions are left behind, if connectivity is unequal, then opportunities concentrate, costs rise, and vulnerabilities appear. Our strategy is to strengthen connectivity from Sabang to Merauke so that every region becomes part of one productive national economy. When we connect regional food production to logistics networks and industrial zones to reliable power and ports, we build not only growth, but cohesion. And shared prosperity becomes one of our strongest defenses. Now, we must also address the next wave of competitiveness, that is the intelligence economy. AI will define the future. But AI is not weightless, it is ground-based. AI runs on data centers, networks, and compute capacity that require 2 resources at scale: energy and power, as I should say, energy and water, for power and for cooling. So if Indonesia wants to be an AI-empowered economy, not merely an AI consumer, then our preparedness must include reliable and affordable electricity, resilient grids and transmission, and water security that supports both communities and industry. And we must capture value at home. If we host the infrastructure, but we export the value, talent, governance, and capability, then we remain users, not owners in the intelligence economy. In the age of AI, energy policy and water policy become technology policy. And technology policy increasingly becomes national resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia has built extensively. Now we must build strategically and deliver consistently. In a world where capital is cautious, execution is credibility. When projects are prepared well, governed transparently, and delivered on time and on budget, we build trust, and trust attracts investment. This is also where partnerships matters. To business leaders here, the government is not only a regulator. We must be a coordinating partner, providing policy clarity, legal certainty, and bankable pipelines. And we ask the private sector here to meet that clarity with 3 commitments. Number 1, invest in resilience, not just capacity. Build redundancy and continuity into operations. Number 2, build domestic capability, skills, ecosystems, and value creation, not just imports. And last but not least, back well-prepared projects so capital can move faster into productive, high-impact infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia faces a choice. We can be a passive arena where the geopolitics of others plays out. Or we can be a confident actor that shapes outcomes in line with our national interest, anchored in resilience, guided by strategic clarity, committed to shared prosperities. And if we get this right, Indonesia will not only be a growth engine for ASEAN, but a stabilizer, a connector, and a trusted partner in a more fragmented world. Thank you. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and we kindly request for you to please remain on stage. For next, we are to present a token of appreciation. And to present the token of appreciation, we'd like to invite onto the stage Bapak Bani Mulia, CEO PT Samudra Indonesia Tbk, to please come up on the stage to present the token of appreciation for our honorable speaker, the Coordinating Minister, His Excellency Agus Harimurti Yudhoyono. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Please give a round of applause once again, ladies and gentlemen, for the Coordinating Minister for Infrastructure and Development of the Republic of Indonesia.